Hey guys, what is up? It is me, Pagey here once again, and we have a new addition to the CWDC universe in the form of Naomi. Now, Naomi is a fairly new character, even in the world of comics, coming from the minds of Brian Michael Bendis, who created characters such as Miles Morales and Jessica Jones, you would know, and David F. Walker, who was a long-time comic writer as well. With her surname, that being McDuffie, actually being a tribute to the legendary writer Dwayne McDuffie, a pioneer with like the milestone titles and everything like that. But now, Naomi is on the CW in live action and brought to life by Casey Walfall. Hopefully, I'm pronouncing that correctly. And I would be lying if I said I was 10 out of 10 excited for the show. And that's not based off what I saw from the promo material and stuff like that, because that looked good. But I was curious how they were going to translate it as, just as a whole, seeing that I have read her first arc in the comics. Her second arc comes out in a few months. And we heard that this wasn't in the Arrowverse quite early on after it was announced that it was actually going to be a show. So there was going to be some playing with the source material, which for most cases can be a bad thing or will be a bad thing just because, people are attached to how they want to see things done. But I can happily say, based off the first episode, Naomi has pleased my eyes and ears, and I am looking forward to seeing how things play out for the rest of the season, especially the next few episodes. Now, this will be the portion of the video where I do jump into the usual breakdown of parts in the episode that I want to talk about specifically, which does of course include spoilers. But before that, for people that haven't watched the episode and are thinking about it and don't want to be spoiled at the very least just so they have that option to, definitely give the show a try. I think you can make your mind up over the first episode, as it is pretty character heavy whilst also driving the story, and especially in the back half setting up what's going to be happening, for the rest of the season. And the hook or cliffhanger at the end of the episode will let you know whether you want to keep watching or not, I can tell you that. But let's jump into the breakdown of the episode, or, the spoiler segment. So if you have not watched it, go away now, if you don't want to be spoiled at the very least. So Naomi McDuffie is actually a popular character within her town. She's not an outcast or loner, which can be the case with a lot of, soon-to-be heroes on a lot of shows or even just in the source material in the comics and stuff like that. But she is into some geeky stuff, as the show does say as well. She leads one of the top Superman fan sites, and Superman is her favorite hero, as he is also adopted, like Naomi is, and adopted kids are chosen, which I think is actually like a pretty inspiring sort of quote thing. Now, she actually lives in a military town with her parents, Greg and Jennifer, and I did dig their chemistry, which I think plays off the fact that Naomi isn't like embarrassed or shelters off from the fact that she is adopted. She sort of like embraces it, and even with the whole Superman stuff and everything like that. So I dug their chemistry. We don't get a ridiculous amount of scenes with them in this episode. There's like, what, 3, I think? But maybe once the history and past of Naomi starts to play out, I think they might entwine with the story much more, and Naomi discovering what's exactly, going on with her now, what happened in the past. So I think they'll play more into the story at that point. But the big thing that sets everything into motion in not only this episode, but for the rest of this story, I guess, in Naomi's life, is this Superman stunt. That's what they call it, going down in the middle of the town. But before Naomi can really get there and see anything, she passes out. She starts to like feel all dizzy and weak, and then eventually collapses, with her only seeing a blur, like a quick blur. Like, we can tell it's Superman, but she would have been a bit out of it. But just a quick blur fly by before she drifts off and completely passes out. Now, Naomi only gets to really hear other people's accounts of it at first, going on to record many of these accounts and post on her website and everything like that, where Superman fought some blue dude before flying off. Now, you don't get like a full-on, like, just still, because it's all like found footage and everything like that, but it's meant to be Mongol from the comics, because that's what it is in the comics as well. That's like the whole, interaction there with her and Superman in the comic series as well. So they don't straight up just slow it down. You just know it's Superman fighting some like alien. But yeah, Superman sort of just like comes in and goes away, just flies off really quickly, but does leave some damage behind. Now, one thing is that Naomi appears to be bisexual in the show. Like, her boyfriend at the party, who she was still flirting with, or there's like some flirtation going back and forth. And then we meet Lords, is her name, at the comic book shop when like they're sort of like discussing and questioning about the Superman incident and everything like that. And there was more flirting going on there. I'm not too sure which way it's going to go in this show, or at least in this season, or at least like the next few episodes. But yeah, it appears that she's bisexual or bi-curious, one of the two. But yeah, one of the things I really liked about the show was sort of like the investigation sort of angle. So we do have like Naomi going back to the town center in like the dead of night in order to capture the aftermath of the Superman incident without all these military and just general pedestrians being around, just by herself. When we actually do see a mysterious figure looking on, Naomi doesn't see him. She hears some noises, but they're just sort of following her. And this is actually Zimbedo, who was actually looking at her early in the episode when she was on her way to school. Now, Naomi, with the help of her ex, Nathan, is actually able to put together all the footage of the Superman incident and into like one long clip and just try to break it down. And they can straight up see, like, it wasn't like anyone's imagination. There's straight up Superman flying around, everything like that. But they actually noticed that Dee, the tattoo shop owner, is just straight up looking at Superman, and almost like that Superman is looking at him as if, almost as if like they're familiar with each other. So Dee automatically just becomes like suspect, or at least witness number one, or people we need, or just a person we need to talk to number one, because he's definitely not like shocked at what's going on. Now we do get that scene where Naomi and Nathan actually go to meet Dee and potentially get some answers, but the weird thing is, like, it's just straight out of the gate that Dee just lets slip, is, which is weird, which sort of like pushes everything into motion, is that he knows the date of Naomi's adoption, which is weird. If it was like her birthday, then that would be fine, but he straight up just knows the date of Naomi's adoption specifically, which he does sort of like cover up, but Naomi is still a bit suspicious about Dee, with Dee saying that he can't give answers if the right questions aren't being asked. And he goes along with that at a couple of different points as well, with him just getting out of the whole situation quickly and just to misdirect Naomi and Nathan by saying that he planned everything. It was all him, the guy with the jetpack and everything like that, which obviously isn't the case, but Naomi goes along with it, even though I think she's still got, some doubts in her mind that that's actually what went down. But this is where everything starts to sort of like unravel a tiny bit, where you can see, later in the season, whether it's in 3 episodes time or whether it's, 6 or 7 episodes time, that truth bombs will happen. So Naomi asks her parents about why Dee knew her adoption date. And they seem very nervy about this being brought up. Just like, oh, like just sort of like a quick cover up. And even when she asked about wearing her glasses, because we see at the beginning when she puts on the glasses, she can hardly see. It's like the opposite. She has blurred vision from putting on the glasses. And at first, I thought she wore them because Clark Kent wears them. But it's not. Her parents say it. It's like some weird reasoning as to like, she's got like a degenerative disease or something for her eyes, and that's why she needs to wear glasses, which isn't the case, which we learn, why she wears the glasses soon. And this is when Naomi takes part in a debate at like I think it was like the art museum or the art gallery or something like that. I can't remember what it was specifically, but she takes part in a debate and she once again starts to get all dizzy and pass out, very similar to the Superman incident. And it's presented as like a panic attack by doctors, but Naomi doesn't think that would be the case. And it's only happened once before, which was that Superman incident. And we see that the reason she is made to wear glasses by her parents is actually to cover up her powers, or some of her powers. And this is when she's able to see far distances very, very clearly, and allow her to see that military note that says there is evidence of the Superman incident in the forest, which she of course investigates, which, as I said, that's one element I'm really enjoying with the show. It's almost like, people are probably going to say like Scooby Gang or something like that, but I think if it plays into the show and it's not overly done, then I'm going to enjoy it. And I like that investigative nature that characters can have, especially if there is a mystery to investigate and it's not forced. But Naomi does find this like weird like disc sort of thing with alien writing around it. But this is when she's actually confronted by Zimbedo, where we actually sort of just get him being this like villainous force. Now Zimbedo questions her as to, why she has that connection to Superman. And he's hinting it's not because of the adoption reasoning that Naomi talks about. And he goes on to describe how he previously felt, before an awakening, and that Naomi is on that same journey. Now, with the Superman stuff, he's like, he's hinting that it's because you're not from this world. You're an alien of sorts, if you want to call it. Now, it does make me wonder whether they're going to go and make Zimbedo from the same place. We'll just say place that Naomi is potentially from. In the comics, they're from an Earth that isn't Earth Prime, and then Naomi comes to Earth Prime in the comics, where they do have Superman, Batman, Justice League, and all of them around, and that's where the show is taking some liberties and not doing that. She's just on a normal Earth. Now, obviously, they have to explain the Superman thing, which will be interesting to see where that comes from, or if it's just some cover up. I'm very curious to see how they explain the Superman stuff, as well as if there's actually any other heroes on this Earth or not. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. Or maybe they explain that like that the alien disc is what allowed Superman to come to this world or this Earth. They sort of came through like a breach or like a, what do you want to call it, like a wormhole or something. It'll be interesting. I'm sure they'll explain it at some point, but I guess it just matters when. But of course, this incident with Zimbardo has just sort of thrown Naomi off. And, well, she left that disc behind. So Naomi and her friends get together to sneak into Zimbardo's office in order to get back the disc from the forest. Now, I was surprised it was this big of a group, but I guess the way that they planned it out where a couple stayed outside, I guess it made sense. But yeah, there was just a lot of people there when you're trying to stay like incognito. But when they go in there, Naomi actually finds a newspaper article from the day of her adoption about a UFO sighting. Now, the UFO looked like a pod. It almost looked like Superman crashing down to Earth. I'm sure we'll find more about that as we go on. But it just makes you wonder, was Naomi the only one? Where did she come from specifically? What was on her original Earth as well? Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of mysteries that fold out from what's set up in this episode. But along with that newspaper article with the UFO sighting, they also find this huge safe in Zimbardo's office as well. But we'll have to wait until later on to really deal with that, because that's when Zimbardo arrives and they sort of have to bail quickly. Now, along with like that whole adoption day and or dates from the newspaper article and the fact there's a UFO sighting, in the picture is actually D. He's actually in that newspaper article, but he looks the exact same. There's no aging though. It was like, what, 16, 17 years ago? Looks the exact same. And this is actually where he reveals himself to Naomi to be Thanagarian, like Hawkman and Hawkgirl. And this is where he manages to get Naomi to ask the right question of, who am I? She's constantly asking about D himself, but she needs to ask the question of, who am I? Who is she? And I'm sure over this season and maybe over the next few episodes, we will find out the exact answer to that. And that wraps up this episode. And I must say, Naomi feels really unique because it's not trying to create her superhero persona in like the first episode or two, like you see with a lot of shows. And it has, I think, 13 episodes to really allow this story to play out. And it's not, so it's different from the Arrowverse shows we've had before, because really they're those superhero personas out of the gate, when we pick up, or by the end of the first or second episode, they are that character already. Or you have like the Marvel Disney Plus shows where similar, they are those characters, or there's only like 6 to 7 to maybe 8 episodes to really develop it. So they get into it straight away. There's a lot of time for this to, simmer on the stove and cook and, embrace those flavors, if you want to call it. So I'm very intrigued to see how the rest of this season goes and how it fits in that 13 episode model, and also what's revealed and just where this show goes as well, because it is disconnected from the Arrowverse. So there's a couple of different paths it can go down. I don't know where it's going to go specifically, because they are taking liberties from the comic and changing it up a bit. But even with that, it still feels like it's still embracing the core things with Naomi from the comics as well. But yeah, I can't wait to see where it goes. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. I'm not too sure if I'm going to actually keep doing Naomi videos every single week. I just wanted to do one out of the gate to give my general thoughts on the show, because I don't know if this show is going to be a show that's worth reviewing each week. So I might wait till the season's done and just do an overall finale review and overall season review. But I'll wait and see. I'll wait and see how episode 2 is and whether there's enough stuff there to actually talk about. But I just wanted to get the first episode out, or a review on the first episode to give my thoughts. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video and you enjoyed this episode, why not drop a like on the video to show your support? It would be greatly appreciated. Let me know in the comment section down below your general thoughts. Did you enjoy Naomi? You're excited to see where it goes? Let me know all that in the comments. And of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure to subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Goodbye.